89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 99, 100. What is consciousness? I'll give you a minute. It might be something along the lines of consciousness is being awake. Consciousness is understanding things like math and how to make beadwork or fabrics or coffee.
You probably think this world is a dream come true, but you're wrong.
I do hate every single philosopher that was born before 1900. But Rene Descartes did say that the only thing that anyone can actually know is that they are thinking. So to that point, consciousness is your own recognition that you have thoughts and are experiencing things. Unfortunately, this gets a little tricky. How do we know that what we're experiencing is really happening? And how do we know what someone else is experiencing is really happening? And the shorter answer is, you don't know that. In effect, what I'm trying to communicate is that lots of people have experiences that cannot be observed by other people. These types of experiences using psychedelics or other types of drugs, ayahuasca, DMT, shrooms, you have peyote. There was even an oracle in ancient Greece who lived in like a cave where the fumes from the volcano made her tell the future. It's widely believed that she was just getting high off the fumes. By me. There are also genuine psychic experiences that people cannot explain. There are spiritual experiences that people cannot explain. Or even people who experience severe trauma. They leave their bodies, or their consciousness shuts down or enters a different plane in order for them to not have to deal with what's happening to them. But your brain is always capable of doing this, and that's what TikTok has discovered.
That's right, dear. You're such a clever little girl.
Kill your parents, Tracy.
So shift talkers are leaving their bodies to enter alternate realities. As I've already explained, this is really common and has a lot of historical context. Therapist Grace Warwick explains it this way.
Transliminal experiences occur when awake and are most common when the mind is in a soothed state. For example, upon waking up and before falling asleep. The instructions for shifting that abound on social media include being half asleep as a start point. They then introduce repetitive music or counting backwards slowly. All of these factors would induce a state conducive to a transliminal experience. An interesting aspect of the technique is the central part that a script plays. I would liken the role of the script to creating a guided meditation or working with active imagination.
This explanation is in line with what I would think. Hack your brain into a super realistic lucid dream. A transliminal experience. Transliminal literally means beyond the threshold. There was another therapist that came up with it, Michael Talborn. What most shift talkers believe is happening is that they are accessing the multiverse.
In 1957, Hugh Everett III proposed a radical new way of dealing with some of the more perplexing aspects of quantum mechanics. It became known as the many worlds interpretation. According to this interpretation, whenever numerous viable possibilities exist, the world splits into many worlds, one world for each different possibility. In each of these worlds, everything is identical, except for that one different choice. In this way, the world branches endlessly. What is the present to us lies in a past of uncountably huge numbers of different futures. Everything that can happen does. Somewhere!
Writing a script would only have you access the reality with each of those individual choices having lined up. But isn't it equally likely that you're writing a script and then living out that exact fantasy and reality in a dream?
You think that there are no other realities where people shift? So, if you've ever wanted to make sweet, sweet love to Draco Malfoy in this reality, you might be in luck.
If you believe in a multiverse, and the multiverse might be real, what you're saying is that at different points in time, you fractured into alternate dimensions. And so there are limitless possibilities of things that have happened and choices you've made and states of being that you are. But each of those has its own consciousness. So if you are transitioning your consciousness into a different dimension, where is that body's consciousness going? Are you suppressing it like in Get Out? Are you sending it back to your body? Are you just kicking the consciousness out into the ether?
Many people will try to tell you that shifting is lucid dreaming, that it's maladaptive daydreaming, disassociation, or something similar. Don't believe them.
It wouldn't make sense within the morality of a multiverse, because you'd essentially be stealing someone's body. This happens in pop culture a lot, right? The trading places between alternate dimensions. It happened in Buffy, where the bad vampire Willow switched places with the good witch Willow. And if you believe that the multiverse is real, you would be stealing someone's body. And I don't see an argument away from this. So it's much more likely that you're having an experience that is hyper realistic because your brain is capable of that. It seems much more likely than body snatchers across dimensions.
You probably think this world is a dream come true, but you're wrong.
The actual process of shifting is pretty simple. You write down your script and you write what kind of universe that you want to be in. So this could be Harry Potter or MCU, Star Wars. You can go into an anime, basically any universe that you want to go into. You script down the interactions that you're going to have and all of those kinds of things. And then you use one of the transitive methods, essentially meditations, repeating affirmations while like lying down or very close to sleep. And you trick your mind into entering your desired reality, at which point you live out your script. Now, scripting is what you write in order for your brain and you to consciously think of the multiverse, the fantasy, the dream that you want to access. It has to include a bunch of minute details because apparently your brain works like a monkey's paw, and if you don't get it quite right, bad stuff will happen. This user, ValShifts, writes to do things like make sure you can never forget your sex safe word, that you should script that you don't have any hair on your body other than your eyebrows and the hair on your head, because fuck eyelashes, I guess. Then they also write, make sure that you script you can't get your period, script that you cannot bring back trauma. And that's what's super interesting, because the things that happen to your brain, your consciousness, happen to you, right?
See you in a bit, my flower. I'll be here. Or not.
An interesting aspect of the instructional videos is a number of them address the fact that if you have sex in your desired reality, you're still a virgin in our current reality. And that concept to me is freaking hilarious. Virginity is a myth. It doesn't exist. There's no physiological change that happens to you when you have sex. It only happens in your brain, and it is completely a social construct. No one can even agree on what virginity means. Do lesbians never lose their virginity? Some people think any sexual contact, even touching of genitals, makes someone not a virgin. You know, it's such a broad, totally subjective meaning. So, if you shift into another dimension, you have all the same sensations, smells, tastes, touches. Everything, again, is indistinguishable from our shared reality. It is 100% real to you, and your consciousness is there experiencing it. And you have sex. Why wouldn't that count? It would. You're definitely not a virgin anymore. But that's okay, because no one is, because it doesn't exist. Most shift talkers are going for weeks or years into their desired reality. They're having their whole teen to adulthood lived out in a perfect fantasy world of their own design. I grew up Mormon. A story about a prophet having gone to see heaven, and when he returned, he told people, if you could see even the lowest kingdom of heaven, you would kill yourself to get there. And what people on Shift Talk are doing is creating a hyper-realistic reality that is perfect to them and living out all of their most intense, deepest desires and fantasies. I found a Reddit community for shifters where, no word of a lie, you aren't allowed to swear. These people are hacking themselves into alternate dimensions, many of them specifically for sex fantasies.
What do you want? I'm literally naked.
But you're not allowed to swear on their Reddit forum. What? When you go on the subreddit and start reading about the experiences of people who are shifting, you start to see really severely disturbing trends. And one of them, I think, is exemplified by this post in the Shifting Realities subreddit. This person has been shifting for 4 years, and it is specifically because they believe that their life is shit and that the only escape that they have from that is living in alternate realities. This person had shifted for 8 days in our current reality time, but he lived for 3 years in Harry Potter. What's disturbing about that is that in order for him to shift for that long, 8 days, previously he had shifted for 7 months. That was the longest that he had ever shifted to a different reality, and that was for his whole last year of school. In order to achieve this, what he has to do is create a clone of himself that lives his life for him while he sections his consciousness, takes his true self, and pushes it into an alternate reality or into a fantasy. Cloning is a little bit controversial in the Shifting Realities universe, but the thing about cloning is that it is you. It is a copy of your personality, and it acts in exactly the same way that you would act. A fun question to ask in relation to that is, how is that different from you? A portion of your consciousness is not present. So you and I could be interacting with someone whose full consciousness is not there. I find that really disturbing for reality. And as a legal precedent, it wasn't me who killed all those people, so you can't put me in jail because it wasn't my consciousness, it was a copy of my consciousness. The consistently disturbing aspect of Shifting Realities is the idea that people can escape their lives and that their lives are not worth living in. So this person, again, they describe their life in our current reality, our shared reality, as being a shithole. He talks about how he scripts that his parents love him. I think you can understand why that's so disturbing. He's taking himself out of his body, essentially giving up and changing his life at all, on being able to change his life at all. I don't see how that's any different than a heroin addiction. And that's kind of the thing. People are creating their own perfect heavens so that they don't have to be in this world.
Yeah, if you want to fly in heaven, Jeff, people fly in heaven, okay? No more from anybody. Please, let's start. And I'm like, man, I should kill myself tonight. And they're like, no. I was like, what? I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I want to fly around. See Graham. We should all kill ourselves.
You can't change any of your problems or experience fulfillment and joy in this reality because you're choosing to kill yourself. When people come back to our current reality, they go into withdrawal. The person in the Reddit post said, "Oh no, I'm back in this shithole." You can also find tons of these kinds of videos where people are desperately sobbing after spending years or months in their desired reality, and they are desperate to get back. They have no interest in living in this world, changing it, making it better. They don't want to be here. They want to change dimensions permanently. Escapism, I think, is important to the human experience. I think that these kinds of psychic experiences are also very important. There's a reason that your brain has it as a function. But if everyone's self-medicating with escapism, there's no point in working on anything else. If you can put yourself into a coma, if you can leave your body and enter a perfect reality where you never age, or you age just right, or every single person loves you, and you can script real people into it as well. It doesn't just have to be Hogwarts people. It can be like that guy did, scripting parents that love him.
Nobody wants me. My conservative parents fear me. Lately, I've been spending a lot of mental energy trying to figure out how to shift realities.
That sucks so hardcore, because there is community to be found in our shared reality. There is. It exists. You can do it, but it's a lot harder than just making up a fantasy and living in it. It's a lot harder than just drinking a bottle of vodka. Shift talkers, if you come for me and you think I'm wrong, let me know. Tell me how Draco is in bed. Tell me how you actually use shifting. Tell me why you think it's not dangerous. Tell me why you think it's not like drugs. Or admit that maybe you have a problem. You can make your own desired reality here also. And it's worth living in. If you have a comment, let me know at www.idon'tactuallyhaveawebsite.com/ please just leave it in the YouTube comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.